Shalom, more praise to Yahweh Shem Yahshua, that nice God is I know I like to make the video. And this video will be focusing on the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5. Scriptures about examining yourself, man. That's what you gotta do. You know, yeah, you can read scriptures, you could do shows, come on, teach. But examining yourself is very important. You know, let's get right to it. Examine yourselves. 2 Corinthians 13 and 5. Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Look at the word examine.
Strong's G 3985, Pyrazzo.
Parazzo. To try whether a thing can be done, to attempt, endeavor. To try, make trial of, test for the purpose of ascertaining his quality, or what he thinks, or how he will behave himself. So, when you examine yourself, you are ascertaining your quality. The quality being ascertained. Ascertain meaning to find out or discover something with certainty, often through investigation or inquiry. So it says, for the purpose of ascertaining his quality, or what he thinks. Purpose of ascertaining his quality, or in other words, determining with certainty. Right? Give me a little different definition last time. But I think it did, but it's still the same thing. So, for the purpose of ascertaining his quality, or what he thinks, or how he will behave himself. So you gotta examine yourself. You gotta ascertain your quality. You gotta know yourself with certainty. Okay? That's what you gotta do. It's like, a game of basketball. You gotta take that last shot. Y'all down 1 point, 10 seconds left on the clock. You gotta score the shot. But before they inbound the ball, you gotta make sure you calm. You gotta examine yourself if you're ready to take that last shot. Because you know that the game is riding on you. You know that if you miss this shot, everybody gonna point the finger at you and make you the one to blame. Or like a boxer, MMA fighter, combat fighter, they gotta ask themselves, if they're a real tough fighter, is this what I really want to do? After a tough injury, is this what I really want to do? After a tough change, let's do this what I really want to do. They gotta examine themselves. They gotta ascertain their quality. They gotta know with certainty if this is truly what it is that they want. So guess what? That's how we gotta do in this truth. We gotta examine ourselves. We gotta truly ascertain, look inside our own selves to the Spirit Yahweh Shem Yahshua and say, do you really want this? Which ultimately, that's only going to happen when Yahweh Shem Yahshua put the Spirit on you to do that. A lot of guys do not examine themselves. Examine yourself whether you be in the faith. See? You got to examine yourself whether you be in the faith. So that's what the examining is about. Showing and proving whether you're in the faith. Prove yourself. So you got to examine yourself. Take that test of examining yourself. And then you have to prove that what it is that you examined is truly what it is. So now you have to take action. You examine yourself through the Spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. You believe. You pray, you fast, you read, ask Most High to build up your spirit. Okay, well now you got to prove it. So you just look inside yourself to ascertain your quality. Now, you got to prove it so that you could pass that test. See? No, you're not going to reprove.
Dokimazo. Strong's G 1381, Dokimazo.
Dokimazo. Test, examine, prove, scrutinize. It means examine. To see whether a thing is genuine or not, as metals. To recognize it genuine after examination, to approve being worthy. So we gotta do that, man. Examine ourselves, improve ourselves. This is highly important. A lot of guys, they don't do that. You know, you gotta examine yourself. You gotta examine yourself every day. You know what I'm saying? Know you not your own selves. How it shines in you, except you be reprobate. Look at the word reprobate. Either one.
Strong's G96, Adakimas. Adakimas.
Not standing the test, not approved. So if you don't stand the test, you're reprobate. And what happens? You're unfit for, unapproved, spurious, reprobate. See that? So we gotta examine ourselves to see if we truly the faith. Because if not, you're a reprobate. You're unfit. Okay. Philippians 2 and 12. Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more not in my absence. And that's important. You got guys that obey, but only when they're in your presence. That's a man pleaser. That's somebody that does something for eye service. They're only doing that because they're under the watchful eye of others. So they really, pretending. They're really pretending to be something that they're not. You know? You gotta take that into account. Not just in his presence, but also in his absence. See, because if you're living with the way you're supposed to live according to the truth, then guess what? Then that you obey in his absence. You don't need him to be there, your teacher to be there. You don't need the apostle to be there to make sure we're doing the right thing. They already told us the scriptures through the Spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shah. Being that he told us that, we already know what it is that we gotta do. We gotta go out and teach. We gotta do shows. I'm saying, be brotherly, this, that, so many different things. So we gotta do this not just in his presence, but also in his absence. That's important. A person that does that is somebody that examines themselves. Because why? They know that the Most High is always watching. The Most High Yahweh Shemel Shah is really constantly meditating on. Really constantly thinking about. You know? And they make sure they do the right thing, whether in the presence of the eyes of men or not. Because the Most High Yahweh Shemel Shah, the angels are always watching. But now much more in my absence. Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. So we gotta work out our own salvation with fear and trembling. You gotta have fear and tremble of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, the Most High. Okay? We gotta be able to, through the Spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, the best of our ability, to walk without offense of the brotherhood. You don't want to do that. So we gotta work out our own salvation with fear and trembling, man. Because if we go off, the Most High can judge us. He can't show mercy. Scripture say that. As he does in his grace, so is his mercy as in the Apocrypha. But guess what? You just want to do the right thing for the Spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shah, and always have that healthy fear of the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shah, because fear keeps you in check. Fear keeps you in line. Remember the Apostle Kabal mentioned that years ago. You know? 1 John 2 and 21. I have not written unto you because you know the truth, but because you know it, and no lies of the truth. Who is a liar but he that denieth that Yahweh Shah is the anointed? So somebody that denies that Yahweh Shah is the anointed, they're liars, man. They deny that Yahweh Shah is the anointed, that he's the Messiah. You got people out there that's like that. They call them Old Testament Israelites. People don't think the Lord came the first time. Okay? He is Antichrist. And that denied the Father and the Son. You have guys that's like that. You can have a guy that's in the truth, and they fall out and they go back into the Christian church. Or they fall out and they become atheists. There's guys that done did that before, man. They deny Yahweh Shah. They didn't examine themselves. But the Most High put the Spirit on them to not examine themselves, because the Most High didn't want them guys from the very beginning. Everything was already set up written in stone, so to speak, from the very beginning. Who's gonna be delivered and who's not. You know what I mean? Let's examine yourself, man. You know the things you do when the brother's not around, when you by yourself. That whatever temptations you got, whatever sins you may fall into, you know that. You know. The brother may not know, but you know. But the Most High can reveal it. Trust and believe. I'm telling you. Take heed, have a healthy fear of your Yahweh Shemel Shah. You know what I mean? Examine yourself, whether you're in the faith or not. Ask yourself, do you really want to do this? A lot of y'all guys don't really want to do it. Y'all came into the truth because it was just something to be a part of. It looked cool. But then it got a little too demanding for y'all. Some guys. You know what I mean? That is taking too long, man. Standing right there for hours. I could be doing this. I could be doing that. Just examine yourself. So Thermal close and say, oh, praise God, how much Shah. That belongs to Apostle Jim Ness, all brother Shalom.